So now we are going to assemble the Choco caramel cake. The elements here are the chocolate oil sponge, and for this we are going to use mousse, chocolate mousse as the filling and the frosting. So there is sugar syrup that is made, and that is the caramel sauce in the piping bag, and then the chocolate mousse in the piping bag. Okay, so the ring is ready and lined up with the OHP sheet on the inside, and there is the cake board on the side. I am going to now start with toting the cake. So I am just going to tote the cake, make a marking using the serrated knife, and once the marking is made, gently follow the marking, the outline, and then go in. Keep turning the cake. And then you will have the knife meet at the center. And then it comes out of the other end. So you have the sponge. Now this is frozen, so the texture is looking that it is firm, but then once it cools down and comes down to room temperature, then the texture will be good enough. Okay, so now we have the two layers, and I'm going to tote the other layer as well, and then let's get into layering the cake. So now I'm going to start layering. I have the chocolate mousse filled in the piping bag. I'm going to have the first layer, pipe some chocolate mousse at the base, and send in the first layer of the sponge, and then we need to use sugar syrup, I'm going to fill with chocolate mousse and have one thin layer of the mousse. And if you're going to make just a chocolate truffle cake, then layering with chocolate mousse would be enough. Now because we are calling it Choco caramel cake, we are going to add caramel sauce. So I'm just creating a dam, and so I have the caramel sauce. I'm just going to use this and drizzle in between. You could fill that entire layer, but if you don't want too much caramel, just add and drizzle as one layer, and top that layer with a sponge. Sugar syrup, and then a layer of chocolate layer I'm just going to leave it with the mousse. You could add caramel. I'm just going to have a thick layer of mousse. I'm just going to level that. Top, I'm just going to add in the next layer of the sponge. Sugar syrup. With a thin layer of the sponge, filling it with a thin layer of the mousse and adding the drizzle of the caramel. You need to have a dam so the caramel sauce doesn't flow outside. So dam is important when you are using soft fillings. And now the last layer of the sponge is added. I'm going to use sugar syrup. I'm going to top this with a layer of the chocolate mousse because you don't want the sponge to be exposed out. So once I add the topmost layer, I'm just going to smoothen it out and cling wrap this layer of cake together with the ring, and I'm going to set this in the freezer. Now by doing this, you can see the sponge is completely sealed from the atmosphere, so it's not going to dry at all. You have the acrylic on the sides, so the top will be sealed with a cream first, and then we need to cover this entire thing with cling wrap together with the board. And seal it on all sides. Now after this step, to freeze the whole thing. With the ring, this will go into the freezer for about 2 to 4 hours, or overnight is also fine. You could do the previous day and then start the crumb coat and the outer frosting even the next day, but minimum time you could give somewhere between 2 to 4 hours or 8 hours is also fine. So plan accordingly and prepare the step and lay them in the rings and leave it in the freezer. So I'm going to leave it in the freezer and then get back to show you by removing the ring and to see how the layers are going to be intact. So now the choco caramel layered cake that we set in the ring is out, and we are going to remove, cut open the cling wrap I'm just going to try and remove the ring. And remove the OHP sheet. And now I'm just going to crumb coat this and frost it. So I'm just going to get the turntable on and place the cake. Now on top of this, I'm going to use the chocolate mousse. So to spread it is easy to use a silicone spatula. Just going to apply the cream on the side. So the ratio of ganache to the cream diplomat, the ganache ratio is more because I wanted more intense chocolate flavor for the frosting. I'm just going to put it on the top as well. I'm going to switch over to an offset spatula. To keep the bowl and then scrape the excess. I'm going to switch over to metal scraper. I'm just going to scrape the excess from the sides and have excess on the scraper. Scrape it back in the bowl. So because the cake is quite cold and firm, I'm just going ahead for the final frosting itself. This doesn't need a crumb coat. So depending on how cold and how firm your layers are, you can decide. If it catches up a lot of crumbs, then you can decide if you want to make a crumb coat and then keep it in the fridge and then continue. can just wipe off the board. You can go on and then continue to smooth this out and work on the finishing. Take some more time. Just find the dents and then seal them. Okay, so I'm just going to keep this simple. You could take some more time to have a sharper edge, but then this looks really nice because the layers are intact on this, right? So because this is a choco caramel cake, I have some caramel sauce with me filled in the piping bag, and I'm just going to snip open. I'm just going to drizzle some caramel sauce on top. Okay, so you can drizzle it in different ways as well, but we're just trying to tell what the flavor is because that's chocolate and that's caramel. We have added some caramel sauce also on top. So with this we have made a lovely chocolate caramel cake in which we have the chocolate oil sponge, and we've filled it with chocolate mousse and added caramel sauce in the center. We've laid it beautifully and then we frosted it and then we've topped it with caramel. So it's a simple cake, but it is going to taste really very delicious, and I'm sure you'll enjoy making and eating and tasting this. With this, we've come to the end of the choco caramel cake.